I don't sound like that. I'm going to get you to come to Canada, and then I'm going to deport you. Oh, if that was my plan, I probably shouldn't have said that out loud. Fuck's sakes, Mike. You are so unprepared. I swear to God. I swear to God, this chat is gonna... They're witnessing domestic violence right now, what you're doing to me. I consider that domestic violence. I don't sound like that. I don't even sound anywhere as close to that. And I don't do that to you. I demand respect. What do I do? What game? What have I done? It's a game I'll win, so if you want to lose, if you want to lose, if you want to lose. I'm positive. HIV positive. You want to see my Magic Johnson?
Okay.
What about now? So people definitely think
No,
I'm
and I
crazy.
don't want to see your Magic Johnson.
Hopefully that fixed it.
Well,
this is why it's always good to have these
bad.
beginning intermission bits, because for some reason...
Yeah, I can hear myself now. We're just not on stream yet.
No, yeah, that's fine. And now you can hear yourself, so now you can hear how wrong you are.
Sure.
Mike, I got a question for you.
Oh, buddy guy. I might have an answer for you, buddy guy.
Is there lore to why you wear sandals all the time? Because I've never seen you not wear sandals.
Man, I've been wearing sandals since like...
It's like me with flip-flops.
Well, yeah, that's he wears flip-flops.
Yeah.
All the time. He's
I've
never...
been wearing flip-flops for like... How old am I? 35?
How old
Almost
am
36.
When is Mike's birthday? I'm totally giving him an original Brazilian flip-flop.
God. When did I graduate? Oh my fuck.
Bro has to use graduation as a meter.
I can hear the dial-up sounds going on in Mike's head right now.
Why is my... The thing's not loading.
Is the camera selected in Discord?
Oh, hold on. Maybe not.
Well,
turn on camera. USB camera.
Oops.
Oh, actually,
there he is.
that's a really good setup. You know what would actually help a bit? Is
That's how I play games.
Oh yeah, get those feet up in there.
That's how I play games.
Good thing I marked this not for kids. We can see Mike's bare feet. What might help your lighting actually is if you turn that lamp on in the background. If you were concerned about your lighting, because just background lights like that.
I'll try it.
And your feet look so soft too. Wonder how they taste.
Oh my god.
No, I meant if you turn the lamp on. Like keep that...
Oh god, that was my mouse.
Keep the light on. I don't know if I don't think he can hear me.
I think that's fine.
Yeah?
That's fine.
What I was thinking was turn the lamp on in the background.
Okay, I'll try just the lamp.
Bro, those chairs you guys have up there sound like so comfortable.
They
Like,
are extremely comfortable.
we will have 2 of them in our house so we can sit and watch TV together.
Yeah, or like a big corner couch. Mike, this is fine. You know what you're missing right now? Like a hungry man TV dinner. Just just you sitting alone in your dark living room in a lazy boy chair with your hungry man TV dinner.
Yeah.
It will do that
What
because
the
of the
fuck?
darkness. Yeah.
There's every stream there's going to be some technical difficulties. Yeah, I'd say just turn all the lights on. Turn all the lights on that you can.
Yeah.
We're still learning, everybody. That's okay.
When he leaves, the goddamn thing focuses.
God, those lazy boys are so comfy. I'm just thinking all the farts soaked into that chair right now. All the gamer farts.
I can give you some gamer farts in a bottle if that's what you like.
Oh man, those go for a premium. Did you see that story of a was she an OnlyFans model or something? Where she was putting herself on this diet that would make her fart as much as possible. And she was farting into jars and selling it, and eventually she ended up in the hospital because of it.
Yes. Yes.
God. I don't know.
I
We
found out the other day there's a Brazilian OnlyFans that sells shit.
like actual shit.
Actual shit. She poops in the pots and sell them.
Oh my god. Why? Smells like G Fuel. Fuck, what have we become as a species? It's like I don't understand. What are you supposed to do with that? What are you going to do with it? I mean, what if like you have kids and your kids find it? What if you have a wife? Well, what am I joking? Anyone who does that obviously doesn't have a wife, or at least I'd hope not.
I was looking for a fucking work light that I could set up in front of me. What if I just turned off all the lights?
No,
and
it's
turned my
okay now.
phone
It's
on
okay. It's okay.
and
It's
just have
focused.
it like this?
Oh, you can tell us some scary stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a lot of stories to talk about tonight, so I'm gonna try to keep it at least on somewhat of a brisk pace just to get through just the amount of shit that I have on the docket this evening. But I wanted to share one thing with you guys. So I was in kind of like a blue mood earlier this week. I don't know, I'd say it was on Monday night or something, and I stumbled upon this again. And it's been years since I heard it, and if you're ever in a negative mood, you just got to listen to this. I'm going to share it to the stream here. You cannot be in a bad mood after listening to this.
Oh, mood. Okay, I thought that you were
Oh
talking about
my
like blue
God.
balls. Okay. Not the blue balls.
No, we'll get to the blue ball story later. I'll see those feet are kind of blue balling me a bit.
Oh man, I'm always in that state.
You guys got the volume on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
What the fuck?
If you can listen to this without laughing, you're dead on the inside.
Sorry to tell you, bud. I might be dead on the inside.
I think I just discovered that you're retarded more than I imagined.
Really? You guys don't find this funny?
That doesn't trigger my ADHD brain.
I can't. I can't. This fucking kills me. Come on, guys, really?
Okay. I don't know if I'm reacting to the song or you.
Okay.
You know, see a really big peak at the very, like, probably 80% of the way into the song. I wonder if that's, like, where they go Super Saiyan.
Let's see. I didn't listen to the whole thing.
330.
That doesn't trigger my ADHD brain at all. What?
It's literally what I sound like in bed.
Oh god.
Oh god, this is what I sound like getting out of bed.
All right, guys, thoughts?
Okay. The last part of that got me.
Oh, wait, they do it live? No. There's a live performance. Okay, wait, I gotta skip through this a bit. What? Oh my god, that guy's really fucking going on that accordion. I don't know if they're saying actual words. Okay.
I mean, I'm impressed.
I'd see him live. I'd fucking pay for that.
Yeah.
Oh my
That
god.
is entertainment.
Whew. All right, we'll move on to the next topic here. So, as you guys may have heard, I don't know if you have, because no one, I'm an old man and no one here pays attention to politics like I do. But
Oh, yeah.
an election was finally called. It's been something that people have been asking for years now, easily going on 2 years, and ever since what I consider the absolute sideshow of what has gone on in the last several months, especially with the tariffs from the US and economic crises, and just it seems like it's just a crisis after crisis after crisis. The Liberals decided to hold a leadership event, so I'm just going to try to give a TLDR of everyone what's happened over the past few months. They had a leadership race. It was very Mark Carney was essentially surreptitiously inserted more than elected. So to kind of explain what I mean there, 400,000 people took a free liberal membership, took a free liberal membership. Usually for political parties, you got to pay like a small amount of money for a party membership. But the Liberals in this case just opened the doors wide open. Anybody could become a Liberal member. And the rules as to who could apply for that were very pliable. So it's hard to say if people were getting in from very foreign countries, if maybe people were finding out a way to make more than one membership. I don't know. It was just a very suspect leadership race, which highly favored Mark Carney. He received 86%, I believe it was, of the 150,000 that ended up being verified to vote. What does verified to vote means? No one really fucking knows. So over 400,000 memberships are claimed, 150,000 got to vote. Mark Carney won an overwhelming historic majority, which he was going up against a lot of liberal heavyweights. And in that election, from Chrystia Freeland, who was the deputy prime minister, there was Karina Gould, who was she was leader of the House of Commons, also very prominent in the Liberal Party. And then you had Frank Baylis, which was a previous member of the Liberal Party who ran a term. So he was kind of more of an outsider. But then you had someone like Chandra Arya, who we're going to get into later. He was removed from being able to run. Ruby Dalla was kicked out of the leadership race, all with very flimsy excuses as to why that was happening. And the only thing that most people seem to be on a consensus are, at least people who are either center or on the right, is that they kicked them out because they were the only two individuals in this race who were going to put pressure on Mark Carney. They were campaigning against him, and leading up to the leadership race, I think it was like the day before the leadership race, they kicked Ruby Dalla out. So you needed 350,000 to enter this race as a candidate. They didn't get their money back. So they kicked them out of the race and kept the money. And hearkening back to what I said a moment ago about going up against kind of liberal heavyweights, they lost by a fucking landslide in their own riding. So like University Rosedale, I think, I could be getting that name wrong, is where Chrystia Freeland has. So that's 10 years. That's a huge pedigree in this one place where she's cultivated connections all over the place. She got a couple of hundred votes, and Mark Carney got over 1,000 in her riding. So a lot of people are calling into question his leadership, and a lot of Canadians are basically saying he wasn't elected, he was inserted. He's finally done, at least ostensibly, the right thing by calling an election, because this has been dragged out for far too fucking long. It's embarrassing on the world stage, especially with everything that's going on. Most people just aren't taking him seriously as a leader whatsoever. So unless you're a devout liberal, but the party bias you have to have to not objectively look at this situation and not see it as anything other than very corrupt. You got to take the rose-tinted goggles off. But let's watch his snap election speech.
I've just requested that the Governor General dissolve Parliament and call an election for April 28th.
So, just a comment on that.
Oh. We are facing the most...
Sorry about the black screen. It's when I switch back to my second monitor. So, he called the election. Right now, Mark Carney he's risen in the polls quite dramatically. So, for the last 2 years, basically, the last year and a half, the Conservatives have been holding a double-point lead over the Liberals. He jumps in, Liberals skyrocket. I think it's very much a honeymoon phase. People tend to favor those that they don't know. So I think that's what a lot of this is from, because the more you get to know Mark Carney, the more insidious things really seem to me. And there's a lot of things that need to be questioned, from conflicts of interest to his dealings with his previous company, his blind trust fund where all of his assets have been placed. Nobody knows what any of these assets are. He will not disclose them. He says that he has a certain amount of time that he can wait. I think it's like 3 months or something. I could be getting that number wrong, but it's quite a long...
it was 11 weeks.
Yeah, something like that, to disclose his assets. But when you have someone that's running for the Prime Minister of Canada, you should have your assets disclosed in good faith beforehand. Trying to keep those sequestered away while you're not only the acting prime minister right now, but during an election, I don't think is giving people the knowledge that they need to make an informed choice. So yeah, we'll go back to Timu, Mr. Burns here, and
most significant crisis of our lifetimes because of President Trump's unjustified trade actions and his threats to our sovereignty.
I know I'm going to pause this a couple of times because there's really a lot to talk about here. Right away, blaming Donald Trump for the state the country's in. And that is so disingenuous to state. We're going to look at some... actually, you know what? Fuck it. I'll bring it up right now. Just let me... Here it is here. So here is what they call the Canada's Lost Decade. This is real GDP per capita. Where's Canada on here? Where's Canada? Oh, we're fucking second last over the last 10 years. Donald Trump hasn't been in office for the last 10 years, nor has he been raging a trade war for the last 10 years. So, right out of the gate, extremely disingenuous. And unfortunately, it's something that a lot of people are falling for. The very emotionally susceptible people to their own biases. But this is what this whole election is now. It's not about what you can do for Canada, what your policies are. Everything that the Liberals are running on, and even the Conservatives to an extent, which I don't blame them, because according to CTV News, Donald Trump is the #1 concern in the country. I don't know what fucking tards they polled in this, but if your #1 concern for the country is Donald Trump, go get a fucking brain MRI.
Our response must be to build a strong economy and a more secure Canada. President Trump claims that Canada isn't a real country.
Barely is.
He wants to break us so America can own us.
Can you blame
We
him?
will not let that happen. We're over the shock of the betrayal, but we should never forget the lessons. We have to look out for ourselves. We have to look out for each other. But what's important is that the government has
They
a
call
mandate from
him
the
Rudolph
Canadian
the
people,
reindeer because
to
his
finish
nose
the
is so
job, to
fucking
finish
red.
the job of building that Canadian economy, to finish the job of diversifying our trading partners, and to have a strong mandate to stand up to Donald Trump and the Americans and negotiate the best.
Does this guy sound like somebody that can stand up to Donald Trump? I have never listened to somebody so fucking boring and unenthused in my life. Mike, what's your take on this? And Bruno, I'll get your take from kind of... This is kind of like your inaugural impressions of this guy, and he just does not have the decorum of a prime minister, in my opinion. But you're chuckling, so let's hear from you.
I'm recovering from the red nose.
It's like, what the fuck? Why is his nose so red?
I never heard tell of this guy until like, what, 2 months ago?
Yeah,
Maybe 3 months
exactly.
ago?
Nobody knew who Mark Carney was. He gets installed, and all of a sudden, skyrockets in the polls. Now, I'm not going to say the polls are rigged, because I don't know if they are. But what I do think is happening, we're seeing a very large response bias, and I don't know if the right demographics are all equally being pulled, because right now people have a positive impression of him because they don't know him, but the more he talks, the worse he does in the polls. And it hit a point where even people who are very liberal are like, he needs to stop speaking. Because every time he does, he kind of makes an ass of himself. Bruno, what are your thoughts?
I haven't heard anything like from what he speak, I haven't heard anything that are actual action plans to get the country back on its feet. The only thing they're doing is instate fear because of Donald Trump. And this is since Trump won the elections in the US. That's what the Liberal Party is using to like kind of get on their feet. And it's kind of working because the Liberals are back on the voting pools, as you said previously. And I just think that's like it's the same that what happened here in Brazil. We knew what was coming, and but the thing is, like it's like people forget what happened from over the past years, and they just like be complacent with what happened. But what the thing is, like the liberals are just using the whole Donald Trump situation to instate a case of fear in people, and it's like, oh no, so the Conservatives Party is bad. We're gonna vote on the Liberals. This is what they're trying to do.
Exactly. And their whole platform beforehand was trying to juxtapose Pierre Poilievre to Donald Trump. And some people think Donald Trump is trying to play 5D chess here by endorsing the liberals. That's not what's happening. If you're a businessman like Donald Trump is, the weaker person that you're dealing with, the more advantageous position you're in. So when Donald Trump comes out and says, yeah, I'd rather deal with a liberal because they're easier for him to wrangle and put them into submission and make cave for their deeds. Mark Carney hasn't spoke to Donald Trump yet. So he's been in office now for over a week. He's, I think, 9 days. He's been to Europe. He's been up north. He has yet to even have a phone call with Donald Trump.
Bro is shitting his pants because of like look at all the shit he talks about Trump. Like how can he like be a man and face it face Trump after speaking shit like this?
And Donald Trump is a petty man. Watching you run a campaign on Donald Trump being the enemy for the last 2 years, because this has been going on in Canada. This is why Donald Trump does not like Trudeau, at least part of the reason, because Trudeau was using him as an apparatus to beat down the Conservative Party. And it's just not working. Donald Trump is very unlikable in Canada right now. I get that sentiment. But people acting and putting themselves in a state of cognitive dissonance from acknowledging the fact that our country has been on the decline for the last 10 years under liberal leadership, and the countless objective, tangible evidence there are to show how badly we've declined as a country under their leadership, and how anybody who has opposed the liberals' policies has been called anti-climate, conspiracy theorists, every name in the fucking book that conservatives would be labeled as anti-women's rights, anti-this rights. It's just all of it is bullshit. And it's funny now, which is something else I think I have later on in the docket. Mark Carney, since becoming in charge of the Liberal Party, has plagiarized all of Pierre Poilievre's major campaign points. Verbatim. He's pledged to take the GST off new homes, except he's doing it shittier because it's only on homes, I think, under $1 million, which if anybody's seen the fucking housing market in Toronto and BC and shit, that's, yeah, right. The interprovincial trade, Pierre Poilievre was the first one to bring that up, opening up interprovincial trade. I know I'm forgetting one here. I'm sure I'll remember it in a second. But
Tax, the carbon tax.
Yes, the carbon tax. How the fuck did I forget that one? But yeah, and he also got rid of the consumer carbon tax, not the industrial carbon tax. There's still carbon taxes, and Carney was the architect of carbon pricing. Every horrible financial decision of the past 5 years rests on the shoulders of Mark Carney. And what's happened is the Liberals have shit their pants, the same pair of underwear, for the last 10 years, and they think that taking off this pair of 10-year-old shitty underwear, flipping it inside out, putting it back on, that people are going to forget what's happened. And I'm sure some people have, but there's still time for them to realize that nothing's going to change. Trudeau was the acolyte. Carney was the mastermind. And we are dealing with someone who is part of the WEF cabal, which, if anyone knows anything about the WEF, you would not want any of those people anywhere near running a country or having any sort of influence on the country. He is also pro mass immigration. In fact, his advisor, which I think I also have him listed up here. Bear with me for a second. Actually, I can get rid of the Lost Decades stuff, since we covered that. Here he is here. I'm going to stream this, and you guys can listen to fucking great value Drew Carey. Oops. So this is one...
Like Drew Carey, too.
This is one of Mark Carney's advisors.
Part of the answer here is a private sector answer. Let the private sector move to bring people in and facilitate them being able to do that. And you know, a lot of the screening and other stuff that we do, frankly, is just bureaucracy. It's a waste of time. Let's let people in by and large, and if we have to do the screening ex post, that's fine.
So
That's the problem right there. Like, you're not bringing anyone with value to the country. You're just bringing more people that as they don't know how to speak English, they don't speak French, they have nothing to offer to your fucking country. And you're seeing that with refugees and Indians. So why open even more this policy?
And he's
Like-
saying, skip the bureaucracy, just let people in. We'll worry about the screening later. That is such dangerous rhetoric, and that's putting the lives of everybody else in danger. You cannot let all these people into our country without any sort of vetting whatsoever. And if they do, if that's the policy this guy wants...
Even the Indian government already said that Canada is letting people who are like letting people in who are fleeing from India because they were supposed to be in jail.
Yeah, a lot of the pro-Khalistani movement has been taking place in Canada. So they're basically, using Canada like a proxy to push the Khalistani agenda back in.
So what is the best policy, for example, in Alberta that doesn't let, for example, people like this enter? Or what is like in Nova Scotia, for example? I know that Nova Scotia doesn't have like a big market. It's not like a center of the country, for example. But what's different in these two states than Ontario? What shit goes down?
Ontario is definitely kind of the epicenter of a lot of this. This is where you'll see the preponderance of the Muslim
And that kinda
sorry,
make
no,
me
I should
mad
say Muslim, the
because,
pro-Hamas.
If I wanna, like, I already I punctuated, like, I think one of the highest punctuations. I'm just missing the financial part to move to Canada because I need, for example, that's what pisses me off. They want to let anyone in. So why for me, who has graduations, who speaks English, it's learning French, and I can add to the country, why do I have to go through all the bureaucracy?
Because
Exactly.
you're
Am I
white.
not brown enough? Am I not brown enough? You know?
Yep.
She said the quiet part out loud.
What? I'm not being racist. I'm just saying.
I know you're not being
basically-
racist. It's what I mean. You said the
Am I
quiet
not
part out.
Muslim? I'm not fucking Palestine. That will never will be, because Muslim is a piece of shit religion that doesn't represent me, because I am, yes, a proud feminist. Yeah, as a woman. So yeah.
Saying all the quiet parts out loud.
I don't care. Come at me if you like. I
No,
don't fucking care.
This is why I have this, because it lets us kind of have this sort of dialogue. You don't have to agree with stuff like that, but whether you like what she said or not, it echoes the sentiment of a lot of people who are fed up with geopolitical and global conflicts being brought to the streets of our major cities. Most people want to go about their life and not deal with this shit. And Canadians were very pro-immigration up until like 5 years ago, when it really started to kind of take a downturn, and it exploded after the Israeli-Palestine conflict. And there's something Pierre Poilievre said that resonated with a lot of people. He said that when you come to Canada, you leave your problems at the door. And I don't see a problem with that. That to me is a very realistic thing. That's just to be.
I mean,
That's what we commented last week. Like, you can't go to a country and expect them to adapt to you. There's very
Yeah.
narcissistic of you to think that the world around you will bend to your will. No, it will not. You will have to get yourself to the customs of the country.
And whether people like it or
You
not,
can't imply.
you can't bring all of these people who have conflict with each other back in their homeland, expect them to come here and not fight. I mean, just in the past couple of years, like we have Palestinians versus Jews. You have synagogues being burned to the ground. Over 400 churches have been burned down in the last couple of years, or is it the last year? I don't know. Something like I'm bad with numbers. You have Pakistanis versus Hindus, and all these people. It's just like a powder keg waiting to explode. We're bringing in all this foreign animosity here, and most of the immigrants
That
who
in
have
that part, I have to defend the Hindu people, because they don't try to, like, at least the people I know, they don't try to like feed you their religion. They celebrate their stuff. They just want like to have their day off or something to celebrate, and that's about it. The thing is, and this is the thing, like, I don't care about your religion. You do what you like, as long as you don't cross my rights. As you don't cross, because I am not Christian. I am spiritual. So, like, as you don't try to feed me or preach me, I don't care. I like to go to the church. Like, I think it's beautiful. Like, all the thing, like all the mass that they do. Like, I think it's beautiful. I like to go to the church. The church inside, like the cathedrals and stuff, they're fucking pretty. I just don't follow. And as long as we have the mutual respect as it should be, it's okay. But the problem is, like, I don't know. I think there's something. It's even what's going on Europe right now. It can't be that they don't see what's going on. I think there's a mass plan or something that they're trying to do with this.
let's look at the situation this way. Let's say Mike and I go to Brazil. We start protesting out in front of one of your, I don't know, let's say Christ the Redeemer. Mike and I go to Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro, and we hold a display where we're protesting Brazil and how much we don't like Brazil. And we pull out a Brazilian flag and we light it on fire while we film it.
If you don't die by the favela cartels, you're gonna die. You're gonna be in jail, and you're gonna die in jail.
This is what's happening in Canada. Monuments are being destroyed, churches are being vandalized, burnt down, synagogues are being vandalized and burned down. Jewish people are becoming trepidatious before they leave their homes. And you talk to any immigrant with a fucking modicum of critical thinking, and they'll tell you, I moved here because I wanted to get away from my problems at home. I came here to be Canadian. If I were to move to Brazil, I'd move there to assimilate to Brazilian culture. Would I be like,
You're gonna
hey,
be Brazilian,
try
half at least.
some Canadian food, try a poutine, I'm not gonna fucking go out and burn their flag in the middle of the street because I'd rather not end up in several pieces. So I think it's imperative that people learn more about who Mark Carney is, because there's too much good press about Mark Carney right now. Our press that's definitely skewing towards him, because a lot of people don't realize is that CBC is funded by $1.4 billion of taxpayer money every year, and they actually want to increase that amount of money. So there is a massive, massive marketing campaign behind Mark Carney. And it's something that needs to be exposed, and it's the Conservatives are at a massive disadvantage almost at every election. And not to mention, the Conservatives want to defund the CBC. So they have more animosity against Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives more than they already used to. So not only does Pierre Poilievre have the mainstream media working against him, the Liberals are also paying a large portion of liberal influencers to do pro-liberal content. You have Donald Trump working against him. You have all the other parties working against him. It's a massive uphill battle for the Conservatives to win. They were kind of on easy mode during Trudeau because people have become very fatigued of Trudeau. But now that Mark Carney stepped in, who is, in my opinion, objectively worse than Trudeau, because like I said, Trudeau is the acolyte. Now we're dealing with the mastermind of most of Trudeau's policies. It's also the exact, for the most part, the exact same fucking cabinet. And I don't think most people realize that that nothing is going to change under this leadership. So
Has he talked about his immigration policy?
Pierre,
No, this guy. Mark Carney.
no, but the people in his cabinet are very pro mass immigration.
Yeah.
The guy that we
I was
just
gonna say, I don't know if you've been following what's been going on in New York City
I have
for the
not.
past month. Basically, they've deemed it a sanctuary city, and basically all the immigrants are flooding to New York because they can't be prosecuted or deported. And what's happening is all of the, I guess, the bad ones, like the criminals, the people who are doing like drug smuggling, human trafficking, stabbing, assaults, murders, domestic violence, blah blah blah. Name your poison kind of thing. They're detaining them and then immediately releasing them back into the streets. And it's basically gotten to the point now where the police can't do their job. There's people constantly getting robbed, stores getting robbed, vandalized, people are stealing like shit ton of items and then selling it right outside the same store, and people can't do anything about it.
That was happening in Canada. You have people who are coming up from, I think, is it Venezuela? I think Venezuela is one of the places, but
yeah,
a few of the, I'm afraid always sounding kind of bad when I say this, but like Central American countries.
Yeah.
Latin America.
I mean, they're the closest to us, so yeah, it makes sense.
They're coming
like they're
up.
going to be the ones.
It's the same thing, like you said. It's happening in the States. They're coming up, and specifically here when daylight savings time is not active. So the days are shorter, nights are longer. They'll come up here during that time, do a shit ton of break and enters, sell all that money, leave, bring it back. And that's the same thing that's happening in the States. They'll go in, break into houses. They're usually part of gangs. They're violent. They'll steal people's shit, bring it to pawn shops, and take that cash, bring it back home for a good payday. And I'm always like, I'm very hesitant to talk about topics like this because I don't want to come off sounding, it's
Well,
it's difficult stuff to talk about, but it's stuff that needs to
the
be.
the point that I'm getting to is that a lot of the policies, like the democratic policies, were to bring in just mass immigration to bolster voter count, and which obviously backfired. And I'm wondering if the same thing happened here, is that we're seeing the byproduct of that occurring. So now we have like a shit ton of people who don't give a shit about our policies, who don't give a shit about our culture, our way of life, going completely against it, and there's not a damn thing that we can do about it because of the liberal policies towards those.
No,
And now
and not to
I'm wondering
mention,
if this guy's just going to make things even worse.
he's absolutely gonna make things even worse. The
But-
only person who's spoken about reducing immigration is Pierre, and he's not talking about. He hasn't really come out and stated exactly what the numbers will be when he's prime minister, but that he has come out and directly said he's against mass immigration. If you break the law, you're gone.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. We don't need this shit coming into our country. And not to mention, we have I think it's Bill C. What is it? Fucking, I can't remember the exact bill it is, but it got rid of mandatory minimums on a large portion, unless you do something that's especially egregious. You're not serving a minimum sentence, and most people just out on bail. Like I think it's the same 40 criminals were arrested over 6,000 times in one city. Like what out in BC? Like what the fuck is happening? How is that acceptable? Why are we continuing to put other people at risk? Why is it that the victims get to continue to be victims while the people who are perpetrating this are treated like the victim? What is happening? I don't
Yeah.
I don't get it. So here's another clip for you guys that I'm going to pop up here.
There really should be like a probation period or something, like a 10-year probation period that, like, if you do anything above this specific level of illegal activity, like, I don't know, if you get caught speeding or something like that, or get chased by the cops, like, okay, I can see, like, you're allowed to stay, it's just you're going to be penalized because of that. But if you, like, go out and rob someone or stab someone, then yeah, like, get the fuck out.
Have you seen the wrong way drivers? Have you heard about that? So
No.
what's happening is people are coming over from India and they're procuring trucking
Oh.
licenses somehow, and they end up driving the wrong way on the highway and shit and causing horrendous accidents. There's been several cases where people have been killed from this by
And
procuring like illegal trucking licenses.
that's probably a cultural thing, because I'm assuming that they drive on the left side of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I can see that occurring.
And that's again, if I want to have a driver's license, I have first to get to be a Canadian. I have my Canadian residency, and after that, it takes like 3 or 5 years for me to be able to drive legally.
So up here, it's pretty easy to get a driver's license.
When you're a Canadian, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if, like, because of that, and I mean, I'm assuming that there's got to be some sort of loophole for someone to come over and instantly just start driving incorrectly. But, or maybe there's I don't know, is there like a foreign visa license or something that you can get that allows you to temporarily drive if you visit a country?
Because I don't know, because I do have my Brazilian license, and I think you can drive in other countries, but depends.
Yeah.
For
'Cause
example,
I
in the
know-
UK, I know I couldn't.
Yeah.
When I went there, but I don't know about Canada.
Would it be would it be a Commonwealth like license policy? Because I know there are certain things that you benefit from being part of the Commonwealth. Then again, I don't think India's no longer the part of that, are they? I think
Well,
they've.
during the Trudeau Liberal era, we're now in a trade war with China and U.S. Our
Yeah.
diplomatic relations with the U.S. and India have completely deteriorated. So it's kind of hard to say the way things are going because just there's less and less countries are taking Canada seriously because of Justin Trudeau walking around. He's still wearing his Taylor Swift bracelets. For fuck's sake. What a fucking weirdo. He's still walking around with an armful of Taylor Swift friendship bracelets. Like, this is the person who was running our fucking country. It's not even the fact that he's liberal. I was someone who was liberal for a long time. I considered myself
No,
more
the
liberal.
fact is you're fucking grown up out of wearing friendship bracelets from a fucking concert that you received from minors.
It's hit a point where you need to take an objective look at the world and what's going on around you. So I'm going to go on a small little rant here for a second. You cannot tell me, Mike, you be my fact checker for this. If you go back to say 20, this is more of like an objective fact check because I'm kind of interested in hearing your perspective.
Okay.
So
yeah,
if we go back to 2014 when Stephen Harper was still prime minister and you looked at your situation and you looked at the situations of those around you, would you say things have gotten exponentially worse since then? There's more and more people who are downtrodden. The amount of destitution I see when I'm in Halifax, you can't go to fucking Halifax without seeing a plethora of homeless encampments. Last I heard, there was over 30 just in Halifax alone. I know grandmothers who are working 3 jobs. I know people who live in the fucking woods in tents. I know people who live in their cars. There's even one story that I heard the other day where someone who's a trucker, a trucker would be a pretty good job, who lives in his fucking truck because he can't afford to live anywhere else.
Yeah.
People, you cannot tell me in good faith that you can look at the people in your lives and look at the people around you and think that yes, this is objectively better. You can look at some of the, aside from the legalization of weed and I guess somewhat the things like the $10 a day childcare, which isn't awful. A lot of these things that they've implemented, a lot of these socialistic policies they've implemented wouldn't need to be implemented if they lowered fucking taxes and let people be more autonomous. The fact of the matter is, the government has taken away our autonomy in a lot of cases and made us more dependent on the government. And this is the type of socialistic policy that makes people fucking lazy and not strive to manage their own life. We don't need the government to intervene in our lives. We need us to take the power back and for us to take the initiative in our own life. But the government seems to be overstepping in a lot of ways. And even I saw, I think he's the temporary leader of the Liberal Party in Nova Scotia, wants to introduce universal basic income.
Yeah.
So you people tanked our fucking dollar to the point that it's basically worthless. We're 60%, our dollar's worth 60% of the US's dollar at this point. Another 5 years of liberals, where's it going to be then? Our dollar isn't going to buy anything. And you can get wrapped up in issues with fucking Palestine and Ukraine. Guess what? That's not affecting you or your loved ones on the daily basis. Can you be concerned about things? Can they be like secondary concerns of yours? Like, yeah, obviously what Putin's done in Ukraine is kind of fucked up, what's going on. in the Israeli-Palestine conflict. Awful. All I want is peace in these situations. But Canada is not the US. Canada cannot swing their proverbial penis around because guess what? We got a fucking micro penis. We're not doing any penis swinging on the world stage. It's embarrassing, especially when you have Trudeau with his fucking Taylor Swift armband armor that he never fucking takes off. No one's going to take you seriously. Trump isn't going to take you seriously. Putin is definitely not going to take you seriously. China's not going to take you seriously, even though, you know, they've been CCP members have been spotted at liberal fundraising events. No one talks about that. That doesn't seem to be any of the media's concern. They just executed 4 Canadians. That doesn't seem to be the media's concern. They just imposed a 100% tariff on canola oil, which is going to devastate a lot of the Saskatchewan canola fields and stuff. Huge business for them. They also imposed tariffs on the fisheries, which is also going to devastate areas of BC and especially Nova Scotia. Why is that not a problem, but Trump is? And I think it's because Trump is much easier to weaponize. Trump is a very easy person to dislike. And to me, and I think most people who are able to take an objective look at things are able to look at that situation and be like, yeah, the liberals are using Trump as a political ploy, and that's all it is. Carney sees that Trump is not popular because of the tariffs. He's poured gasoline on that fire, and he's holding the match. And he gave the match to everybody, and he's wanting us to throw it. And people cannot fall for this. People cannot live another 4 years under liberal rule, under their fucking tyranny. Because I don't even want to comprehend the attacks on free speech that are going to be committed if Carney gets back in again. Because there's already murmurings of people in the background wanting to ban X and label the MAGA movement as an extremist movement.
No.
America is not our enemy. Donald Trump has made life a bit more difficult right now, but look inward, look at the country. The problems that we have with 1 in 5 Canadians living in poverty, the 251% increase in hate crimes, the 50% increase in violent crimes, the list fucking goes on. Donald Trump didn't do any of that. What are you going to say?
It's curious that you say that, or interesting that you say that, because I wonder, at the rate that things are deteriorating between US and Canada relations, I'm wondering if we do end up with just the same shit continuing after the elections, like if the Liberals do win, and it just keeps snowballing
It's
the
going to get
same way
worse.
that
You've had Carney insulting Donald Trump, has yet to take a phone call with him.
Yeah.
Because I
but
think
with that, oh, what's that?
I don't think Carney could last in a conversation with Donald Trump. Donald Trump would run circles around someone like Carney. Carney says and more than I do in a sentence. And I'm an introverted, non-public speaker. He's the Prime Minister of Canada, and he can barely spit a fucking sentence out, which we're going to get into here more shortly after our little digression.
Yeah, the problem that I see right now is that the dialogue has broken down to a point where it's, I mean, like I said this last episode, that basically it's just diverged into name calling and breakdown. Like the communication's basically broken down to the point where there's nothing to accomplish. And now, is the threat possible for the states to actually want to annex us? Technically, yes.
I do
At the rate that we're going.
I do
Like,
think
in... What's that?
the thing is with Trump annexing us is that he'd basically be creating a massive gain for the Democrats in the U.S. because Canadians are far more liberal than the U.S. is. So what a lot of people think, I honestly think that Trump would love to, I don't want to say take over Canada, but add Canada to the U.S. because of our water, our minerals, our oil, our gas, uranium, cobalt.
I mean, I've been saying this for a while that it will eventually happen.
But we're not using any of it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the takeover is inevitable. It will happen at some point in the future. That has to occur for the states to keep the resources going, to keep, like, to keep their nation afloat. Because the whole point of nations is to segregate people who think alike, who are, I don't know, I guess nationalists, who pride their country and believe that their country is the dominant country. That's been the whole point of countries from the
And
get-go.
I feel like I need to say this out loud, but I am not a proponent of what Donald Trump is doing. I find it's needlessly dogmatic, and it's causing a huge rift between him and allies. And optic-wise, it doesn't really look good what he's doing.
But I'm wondering if the way things are going, because right now, if he just, like, tomorrow morning, if we wake up and we're being invaded, that would be like
Oh, there's nothing we can do.
political suicide. No, but for them, it would be political suicide. They'd basically break the
Oh,
NATO
absolutely.
contract. Article 51 or whatever the hell it's called would be enacted, and they would basically declare war on half the world.
And
Now, with that said, at the rate that things are deteriorating, I wonder if they're going to be able to eventually pull a Russia, what Russia did to Ukraine in 2014, and then did again.
yeah, they
Was it
invaded
3
Jordan
years ago? Yeah, but they
or
they
Georgia.
used a, like, this isn't what we're doing. This isn't what it looks like. What was it? Denial. Basically deny everything up to the point where something occurs. They take some land or bring like a large section of that country into their control, and then later on justify
Like
that occurring.
Crimea.
Yeah, basically, like, I wonder if it's going to fall under that same kind of situation. Like,
It's
where
hard to,
maybe Alberta, because there's been talk of Alberta potentially joining.
that's later on in the docket too.
Yeah, and I wonder if because of this, there's going to be a situation where the rest of Canada is just like, no, that's batshit crazy. We're not going to let that happen. And then the States is going to have to move up, bring their troops into Alberta to protect Alberta. And then, boom, next thing you know, they're part of the States.
So wait, where do I have that in the doc? I kind of had everything in like a.
But, like, at the rate that things are deteriorating, I can see that occurring in the next, like, maybe even this year.
Okay, so I might as well jump into some of that now. Where do I have that listed up here? I'm just gonna see if maybe I didn't even have a section for it
In your
in my
long list of tabs.
my giant fucking list of tabs, which gives me anxiety because I usually never have any more than 2 or 3 tabs open. But
You can only see the first 2 letters of every tab.
yeah. So Alberta separatism is on the rise. And this is another thing that liberals have done, is they've not only destroyed diplomatic relations with different parts, with like India and and definitely the increasingly I don't know, the increasingly hostile rhetoric and especially towards Donald Trump, and yeah, it's created there's a lot of animosity between the provinces too. So there's been a Quebec separatist movement since, when was it, the 90s, since the Quebec separatist movement became a thing. I think it was around that time. Well, on top of a Quebec separatism is now on the rise, we now have Alberta separatism on the rise, and it's gaining a lot of traction from what I've seen online, because Albertans have been treated like absolute shit economically, especially. The Liberal government is trying to handicap them in every way that they can. They've got emissions caps on them. It's not good, and it's creating a lot of resentment towards the rest of Canada, because Alberta also has to pay equalization payments. And these equalization payments are divvied out to the provinces that make the less money, with Quebec getting the most. So they get billions from Alberta while also criticizing Alberta's dirty energy. You know, it's like right now Quebec is the only thing standing in the way of a west to east pipeline, and it's causing a lot of animosity in discourse between, you got Nova Scotia, who's pissed, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Newfoundland, who are all pissed off, especially Nova Scotia, at Eve, whatever his fucking name is, Blanchette. I'll just say his last name, because he's blocking the pipeline from being built. So that's creating a lot of tension, because one province shouldn't be able to block energy access from the other provinces. It's also causing more issues for Alberta, because that'd be more money for Alberta, of course, being able to just freely send the fucking oil across the country. But yeah, there was actually a group of, I think there were lawyers or something, that kind of formed this coalition and went down to the States to speak to the States about Alberta separatism and joining the U.S. Danielle Smith, the premier of Alberta, even came out and fully endorsed Pierre Poilievre because of the anti-energy policies that are being imposed. So if we, for example, we're not building any liquid gas plants at all, LNG, but we're shipping increasing numbers of coal. So BC is run by David Eby. I've gone into detail about how I don't like David Eby. They're selling a plethora of coal to China. If we try to convert 20% of China's natural gas, or of 20% of China's coal plants to natural gas instead, we would completely negate any emissions Canada causes. But they're not doing that. And this is why the green energy movement, to me, in Canada is such a farce. We're more focused on our emissions and looking at it as our problem instead of a global problem.
It's getting a kick out of when they talk about reducing our emissions, and it's just like, our emissions are, fuck, what, 6%?
They're
Is it?
1 to 2%.
Canada global.
It's like 1.5 to 2%.
Yeah, 1.4.
Yeah.
So since, okay, this is in 2021, but since 2005, so in 16 years, we reduced our global emissions by 0.24.
So we're
Wow.
paying.
Me-
It's absolute retardation at the
So-
highest fucking degree.
Meanwhile, So India's 6.52. Let's see what China is.
I think China's the highest.
Jesus fucking Christ. 30%? Oh my
And they just
God.
keep building more coal plants, and guess who's keeps selling them coal? Fucking Canada. Guess who's invested in coal pipelines, all these fucking projects that are antithetical to who Mark Carney claims he is. Mark Carney. Like it's insane to me. Just a cursory search of Brookfield or who Mark Carney is as a person. You can even do this through ChatGPT. It takes 3 seconds. It'll spit out the projects that Carney has played an intrinsic part of that are completely counterproductive and antithetical to the claims that he stands by allegedly. So the question with Mark Carney is, what seat is he going to run in? Because he doesn't hold a seat. He's not really an elected official anywhere. So what happened is, remember when I was talking earlier about the leadership race in Chandra Arya? I'd mentioned that name.
Yeah.
So he's been the Liberal representative for Nepean for 10 years. He booted Chandra Arya out of his riding and kicked him out of the Liberal Party, and is now taking his spot to run there instead. So let's listen to this.
Why did you choose to run in the riding of Nepean, and what was involved in your decision in terms of also the fact that Mr. Chandra Arya, who has represented this riding for quite some time as a Liberal, what is the situation involving him being disqualified from running in this race? And do you live in this riding?
So several things there in your question. First, the decision of candidates selection and candidate approval. We have within the Liberal Party a committee called the Green Light Committee, which takes into account various information about candidates, does basic candidate due diligence, if I can put it that way. Mr. Arya, so I am not a member of that committee. They take their decisions. Mr. Arya, as you know, was disqualified from the leadership race for the Liberal Party because of certain factors.
Yeah,
that informed the decision. Is my understanding of
I'm hearing a lot of words.
To recommend that he be disqualified.
Not really saying much.
As a candidate in Nepean. Now, from my perspective, I've been a resident in the Ottawa area for almost 20 years, with the exception, of course, when I was quite obviously a resident in London when I was governor of the Bank of England, but apart from the time when I was governor there.
He's saying a lot without saying anything.
Well.
Yeah.
He said basically nothing.
Peter Shirelli,
Perfect politician.
A fucking fly doing like this all the time.
And in many respects,
T1000 of politicians.
Yeah, you were so good in England that they didn't want you there anymore.
I'd made the comment, he's like if Ben Stein was an insufferable cunt.
Median incomes around probably $50,000, $55,000, so a little less than the national average, but in there. Very diverse. Both the opportunities and the challenges that we face as a country, and those are challenges that I'm looking to address. That's why I put my hand up. That's why I'm here as Prime Minister. That's what I'm eager to move forward with.
Should do a drinking game every time he says
And this is the positive vision that we're putting forward for the people of Nepean.
We'd end up getting our stomachs pumped.
The people of Ontario, the people of Canada.
Like, oh shit! 1 second, I gotta pause this. You guys just
What
wait.
the
Just
fuck is that?
wait until you see that. So
and also, are we going to stay too long on this like thing, because it's been more than an hour, and honestly, I can't see this guy anymore in front of me. I'm not even a Canadian. And
there's we'll just quickly go through the rest of it. So like, I don't like Jagmeet Singh, for example, but Jagmeet Singh can communicate in a way, you know, like he can get up in front of a microphone, he can kind of speak with some passion, some faux passion. Justin Trudeau, I don't like Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau was kind of good at working a crowd. I don't know what that was. A fucking I don't know.
Um.
That was a mess, and this is every press conference he does, and I go cross-eyed when I'm listening to him because he's not saying anything. It's completely devoid of any substance. It's devoid of any emotion, and it's clear he doesn't give a fuck. So let's go on to this next thing that I saw. So this was a new commercial that they just came out with. Yeah, I know. I'm cognizant of it now, and I hate it. So this ad's
Like
so
half
bad.
of the politics.
And there's people online saying that this owns the NDP and the Conservatives especially.
Let's go. Mr. Prime Minister, Mike Myers, what are you doing here? I just thought I'd come up and check on things.
You live in the States,
Yeah, but I'll always be Canadian.
but you live in the States.
Yeah, so?
Do you remember Mr. Dressup?
The children's show on CBC?
What were the names of Mr. Dressup's two puppet friends?
Casey and Finnegan?
Bud,
Spud?
Howie,
Meeker?
capital Saskatchewan.
Regina?
Tragically,
Pip?
you're a defenseman defending a 2-on-1. What do?
Take away the pass, obviously.
What are the two seasons in Toronto?
Winter and construction?
Wow, you really are Canadian.
Yeah.
During
So true.
Mr. Prime Minister. Will there
That's
always
so
be a
fucking
Canada?
true.
There will always be a Canada.
All right, elbows up.
Elbows up.
Oh, it's so bad.
Cringy.
It is so fucking cringy. So I made the comment online. I said we have two people who pretend to be English, who are pretending to be Canadian, who made their living and all their money in the States, talking about how Canadian they are. It's fucking embarrassing. And I kind of would have preferred if Mike Myers just made Austin Powers 4, but
You know what? I wish he ran. I would vote for him. Mike Myers?
He also told everybody to vote for Trudeau, so
Oh.
his political acumen is not much to be
damn it, man.
desired.
Why do celebrities have to get into politics?
So here's something else somebody pointed out. Not only is he stealing Pierre's policies, he's literally stealing Poilievre's words. The GST tax cut on homes announcement. So here's Poilievre's statement. This was back in March 2023. After 8 years of Trudeau, this story I hear everywhere. People are doing everything right, going to school. Oops. Going to school, getting a good job, working hard, and still are not able to own a home. Remove the gatekeepers, get more homes built, restore hope for our young people. So this is what Carney posted the other day. So many Canadians are doing everything right. They've worked hard, secured a good job, and saved for the future. But often it's not enough to buy a home. It shouldn't be this way, so we're making it easier to buy your first home by removing the GST. If people cannot look at this situation and you cannot tell me that something isn't right here, from the election process to his words, his policies that are being blatantly plagiarized from Pierre's. There's stuff that they've been fighting for years. What's really interesting to watch is you have the people who adamantly defended the liberal policies for the last few years applauding this like it's fucking revolutionary. It's like, no, guys, this has been argued for the last couple of years by conservatives, and we were shit on for it. And you were called anti this, anti that. It's fucking ridiculous. Try to.
Yeah, I don't think.
That's
I don't think
more.
removing GST is gonna help.
This is more
It's
about
gonna help me.
Canada's lost decade, so we'll skip that one. And here's something here showing he wasn't too popular when he was governor of the Bank of England. Oops, I keep clicking the wrong screen.
I want you to listen carefully to the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
I think it is extraordinary that Mark Carney has become the Prime Minister of Canada. He did a terrible job in Britain of the governorship of the Bank of England. He created a lot of the problems that blew up on my watch and that I got blamed for were actually created by him. He backed Labour in the election and Rachel Reeves's policies, which are leading the country to bankruptcy. So why on earth the Liberal Party of Canada has selected this man, I have no idea. And I think it is illegitimate that this guy has never been elected as a member of Parliament in Canada.
It's almost like she's trying to warn us or something, right? Should we listen or should we just ignore and pretend she didn't say those things? Like,
he's responsible for the economic destruction of the UK's economy, and people are applauding his resume because he went to fucking Harvard. Do you know how many people I know who went to school and they still can't do the job that they went to school for? It's insane. And regarding the house situation, because something just popped in my head, I know several carpenters. Mike, you're one of them. You build houses for a living, and how does it feel? You build houses for a living and fix them, but the likelihood of you ever owning a home has basically
Yeah.
is basically non-existent at this point.
I've just accepted it.
And
To be
that's
honest, it's one of those things like I can't do anything about it, so I'm just not gonna give a shit about it anymore. Like yeah.
okay. I'm gonna leave this up to you guys. I have a clip here of him kind of getting snippy with reporters, but I don't think either one of you want to hear him talk any longer.
No, I just want to see how much of a piece of shit he is.
And this is what I want people to see, because he's spending so little time in front of cameras, but every time he gets in front of cameras, people seem to like him less and less.
And just a comment here, what you said about Harvard and stuff. It doesn't matter if you have a fucking diploma. Studying theory and passing tests, it's easy. Leading something, it's not. And he did a bad job in Britain, and he's going to do a bad job in Canada.
Let's provide my own anecdote. I have an uncle, went to school for IT. My dad is a fisherman who was self-taught everything in his life. The guy who went to school for IT would bring his computer to my dad to fix. Doesn't matter what you have on paper. It doesn't reflect what you can do with your hands.
Okay. You don't think it'd be helpful that they come out and say something?
Whoa, what's happening? Why did it just pause?
Conversation about our broader partnership with the United States. But we're Canada. We don't need other people to come to our aid. Come on.
So what's coming up is about his conflict of interest.
C'est pas nécessaire d'avoir d'autres pays nous aident. Nous sommes Canada, Canada fort. Okay? But our relationships and where we have responsibilities, not what others are doing.
Oh, wait a second. Pause right there. And so why are you crying about Donald Trump then if you're responsible?
Donald Trump is nothing more than a emotional bludgeon at the moment.
Yeah, they are just using Donald Trump to terrorize people.
And it's working, and we'll get into more of this later. Just wait till you see some of the shit going on in Ottawa. Try to just steamroll through the rest of this Mark Carney shit.
We understand that you have now placed your assets in a blind trust, so you don't know what's happening to them going forward, but you knew what they were going into that blind trust. So what are they?
Very reasonable question.
Look, Stephanie, I follow the rules of the Ethics Commissioner. I'm following them well in advance of any of the requirements, as you know, because I know you know this. You know that these requirements come into effect in months. We're talking days after I became Prime Minister. So I'm complying with the rules of the Ethics Commissioner, going through the processes and all these things that are necessary. And I will remind you, and I'll remind Canadians again, that the Leader of the Opposition cannot find it. And look, you look at the questions this evening, you look at the nature of the discussions, look at the nature of discussions I had with the President of France, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
He's completely
The
obfuscating.
Leader of the Opposition would not be capable of having those discussions because the Leader of Opposition refuses to get his security
The
clearance.
Leader of the Opposition
Something
isn't
that
the Prime
it took
Minister.
me a few weeks to get. And he has been the Leader of the Opposition for 3 years. So I comply with my responsibilities. I comply with the rules well in advance. And the Leader of the Opposition doesn't take his responsibilities at a time of, well, you should take these responsibilities at any time, but it's particularly remarkable given the stakes in global geopolitics at the moment.
So before I continue with that, Pierre Poilievre doesn't have his security clearance, the one that he's talking about, because this was it was part of the NSICOP report regarding foreign interference and stuff. Pierre Poilievre refused to sign it because if he signed on to that security clearance, which this is something that was created by the Trudeau government, he would be muzzled for life. If he signs on and sees any of this stuff, he's not allowed to act on it. He's not allowed to discuss it.
Oh,
And he's never allowed to do anything with it. So
basically can't backpedal.
it would completely muzzle him from ever saying anything. So his response was, if that's the case, I'll find, if I'm going to get this information, I'll hear it from the media or something, because a lot of people don't realize that's why he doesn't have his security clearance, or the ones that do and they still defend the Liberals. Once again, cognitive dissonance. If you're to be, and if the roles were flipped and the Conservatives were doing this to the Liberals, I would agree with the Liberals. You should, if you're being muzzled as the Leader of the Opposition, that's like cutting Mike's hands off from being able to build houses.
The rules say that those assets should be publicly disclosed within 120 days, which means you'll campaign in a coming federal election, most likely within the next 120 days, and are serving as Prime Minister now, with Canadians not being aware of what potential conflicts of interest you sought to avoid.
What possible conflict would you have, Stephanie?
That's what we want to know.
I'm complying with the rules in advance. Point final.
Are you saying you are not open to any conflict of interest?
Yes.
Someone spent most of his life in the private sector. There's no possible conflict of interest in your assets. It's very difficult to believe.
Look inside yourself, Rosemary. I mean, you start from a prior of conflict and ill will. I have served in the private sector. I have stood up for Canada. I have left my roles.
You left Canada for 15 years.
At a time of crisis for our country. I'm complying with all the rules. Your line of questioning is trying to invent new rules. I'm complying with the rules that Parliament has laid out and the responsibilities of the Ethics Commissioner. And I will continue to comply with those rules.
He may be technically complying with the rules, but optics-wise, it looks terrible and sketchy.
Yeah.
So,
using a lot of words without saying anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have another video here, but I'm going to skip this one. It's basically something we already talked about with Trump. Trump came out and reinforced what he said last week, where he would prefer to have a liberal, to work with a liberal because it'd be easier for him. Did you see that video, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you have seen it.
Now, going back, like, kind of tying into what I was talking about earlier, I wonder where Mark Carney is considered a globalist, or I don't know, by what I've read.
He's
they
considered
consider
a
him to be a
globalist.
yeah. I'm wondering, and this is the conspiracy Mike coming out for a moment. I'm wondering if this is part of the plan of unifying North America. Basically, get a globalist in Parliament
Who's already
as
destroyed
their
one
leader.
economy.
Yeah, and then basically slowly trickle parts of Canada over to the States.
And it's looking like if the Liberals win, I don't think people realize the ramifications it's going to have because of the 10 years of damage they've already caused. If Alberta were to secede from Canada, there would go basically all of our money. Like,
Yeah.
Alberta is the heart of Canada that keeps the blood pumping, or money in this case, through this country, and they have been treated abysmally. So, to show you guys how bad Trump derangement syndrome has hit Canada, wait till you get a fucking load of this. This is from a rage room in Halifax.
I heard about this.
Some might call it a smashing good time. A nationwide surge in frustration over Trump's tariffs on Canada has sparked a new idea at a rage room in Halifax.
What you see here is a drop in a bucket.
Owner Terry LeBlanc is giving customers a free
This is
photo
insane.
of U.S. President Donald Trump to smash.
Normally, I don't really get political. However, I feel with everything going on in the world and what's happening these days, I feel like this is needed.
No.
The Rage Room provides a safe space to blow off
Let's
steam
make
by
this
breaking
worse.
electronic and household items.
We're entertained first, and if you get a little stress relief out of it while you're here, then it wins both ways.
No, you're
And
winning.
people are having fun.
Well, I have a little souvenir that I'm actually going to keep. Just hang it up, you know. March break stuff. Sorry, Donald.
It's kind of freeing. It's very nice. It's almost therapeutic. It was great. I loved it.
These people
While
are
this
insane.
reporter shouldn't participate in any political smashing,
They
I
should
do
be
want
doing
to alleviate
therapy
some
instead of
stress
doing
and
that.
break some random
Exactly.
objects.
Just
on
it
the
does
smashed
my
menu
head
are
in.
25% off in opposition
I
to
feel
the
like we're in a Black
tariffs.
Mirror
The
episode.
portraits have been
Me too.
donated to LeBlanc by Quinprint and are printed on Canadian paper. The shop is bracing for impact from Trump's proposed levy and is worried for its customers.
People are feeling the pinch,
Because
and at least as
if
far
a
as my clients are
politician makes you
concerned,
to go
it's
like
the folks
this,
who can
bro, you
afford
need
the
to
pinch the least.
get.
Framed photos of JD
That's what I
Vance
said.
and
Like
Elon
people,
Musk are
mainly
available
like
as a
people from
pair
the
for
LGBTQ
$5,
plus,
100% of which will
like,
be
oh my
donated
god,
to
I'm gonna
Canada Nova
die,
Scotia.
So far,
bro.
everything's been positive.
And when it comes to how long
No.
the
Everything's
portraits will
been
be
positive.
staying around, LeBlanc hopes
I
until the trade war
understand
ends.
why people fucking hate him. And it's to a degree, he's making it justifiable. Like, just the way I see Trump, even Elon Musk and JD Vance, I see them as like the kind of people who just they can't step back and be like, oh, my bad. Like, I said something that I probably shouldn't have said, or I did something that I shouldn't have done, or I made a mistake. They don't strike me as those kind of people. And
Oh yeah,
they're the
I'm not.
they're
Yeah,
the
just
kind
like
of
you're
people that
saying.
double down and make shit worse, which is what I'm seeing happen. Which is pissing off, like, rightfully so. We should be pissed off about this stuff because, I mean, you look at any other country and, like, Russia and Ukraine, understandably so, Ukrainians hate Putin because, like, the guy's a prick to them.
Oh, yeah,
He's been threatening them for what, over a decade now, and rightfully so because he's invading, and he gave a reason to invade. And I just see this as like we're doing the exact same thing, or the exact same scenarios basically played out over there, except if this one happens, it's going to be fucking complete chaos in terms of like global chaos, because now you're involving all of NATO. And then like I know the argument for like he's trolling, and yes, he does troll. He loves getting like a rise out of people because he likes the attention to suit his ego. And that's the problem, is that I don't think his ego's going to let him just not react to
And
shit that we're doing.
people get so wrapped up in Trump's rhetoric. That's exactly what he wants. Trump
Yeah.
is so
But
inflammatory.
that's what I'm talking about. I'm not defending them. They are pieces of shit. But the thing is, like, I'm not gonna waste my time babbling and shitting on them, because I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna let this affect my like mental health, like people do.
I mean, we should be able to openly shit on politicians and leaders and how
Oh,
people are
absolutely.
like
Yeah, of course.
people in the public eye, like they have to involve themselves with that kind of criticism and just take it for what it is. And what I think's happening is all of that's happening, but there's no actual dialogue, like diplomatic dialogue
There
going
definitely
on.
isn't now because Carney's not speaking
Yeah.
to him. He said he's not going to
And
speak to Canada until he changes. Or sorry, he's not going to speak to him until he changes his tone. I was like,
yeah,
What the fuck is that?
and
I just read.
I'm more concerned that at the rate that we're going, we're basically going to give them a reason to do all the shit that they're saying.
well, in a way, Trump's already doing this to cripple us economically because he knows that we solely rely on the U.S. economically. And you know whose fault is that? Canada's. We've had Japan come to us for oil and natural gas. We've had Greece. We've had Germany. We've had so many countries come to Canada looking to procure and pay for our resources. And you know what Trudeau told them? There's no business case for it. We've made ourselves we've developed this symbiotic relationship with the states. Like 60 or 70% of our trade is with the states. Whether you like Donald Trump or not, you need to realize that we rely on them economically big time. Trump sees that. He knows it's a weak spot, and Trump knows he can exploit it. And that's exactly what he's doing, because that's the type of person Trump is. That's what a businessman would do. They see weakness, they're going to exploit it for personal gain. That's what's happening. And you could be mad at Trump for that, but Canada, it's the liberal government who put us in this situation to be exploited to begin with.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we've done it to ourselves.
It's absurd. And that the fact, like, what these people did with the Rage Room, business wise, I kind of see it as like a good business move. But morally and ethically, it's adding to the volatility that's already there, and it further deludes people into thinking that it is all Donald Trump's fault with what's going on right now. And I know that it's so myopic to have that point of view where you're taking out your frustrations and you're angry at Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is something physical to be angry at. He is the Liberal Party has made him a representation of everything that is going on and has used that to channel people's anger, and it's working. When especially since Trudeau's gone and we've got this new guy in, and people are like, "Oh, well, look, it's a new guy."
Yeah.
New guy gets hired at work. Most people are going to have a positive opinion of the new guy at work because you don't actually know him.
Create a boogeyman and take the spotlight off of the actual issues.
What the fuck is this news?
So, oh fuck, what just happened?
You clicked on the ad there.
Okay, so One thing that Canada has, and you Americans don't want to fuck with us now, is there is a contingent of people in the US calling for Canada to ban Pornhub in the States. Some Canadians are calling for Pornhub, which is owned by a Montreal-based ILO, to be banned in the US amid the trade war. It started when comedian Matthew, not going to even try to pronounce that name, posted on an Instagram reel skit in which various retaliatory measures in the US are proposed. Eventually, the idea of banning Pornhub in the US is floated, which he quips is quickly to win the trade war for Canada. Change.org position has been started to urge ILO to ban Pornhub in the US, although only 841 people out of intended 1,000 have signed for it so far. It should be noticed that Pornhub is one of ILO's big porn divisions, which also include popular sites like RedTube, YouPorn, and film studios like Brazzers, Digital Playground. Therefore, ILO banning its networks in the US would certainly have a big impact with Pornhub alone. Man, I would love to sit in the board meetings at this place as they talk about all the revenues from all the different porn agencies and stuff. Can you imagine if we did ban Pornhub in the States and you just had like a bunch of angry boner enraged Americans just charging over the border at us because they've just been like, they've got cum brain. It's because they haven't been able to jerk off.
It's the last thing they need are more sexually frustrated dudes.
You ever see that movie, The Taint?
No.
Probably no one's heard of it. It's a B movie where basically men become zombies that only try to kill women, and they walk around with raging hard-ons. And the only way you can kill them is by shooting them in the dickhead. It's such a stupid fucking movie. And that's what I'm picturing with this situation.
I need to watch that.
The Taint is what it's called. I don't know what link that was, but it seems to be broken now. So, you guys want to see more of what liberal policies have done? Let's check out what's going on in Shoppers Drug Mart in Ottawa.
Should we stop them or not?
Should we stop them?
What?
This is becoming more and more common.
This is like the where the fuck was it? Was it Toronto or Alberta, where was it the police chief came out because there was like a car theft issue, and they're like, yeah, if somebody goes to steal your car, just give them the keys.
Yo,
Yep.
what the fuck?
They're just walking in, filling their car. People everywhere recording them. There's their license plate. It's so embarrassing. Fuck me sideways.
Should we stop them or not?
Should we stop them or nah?
I'm so, man, like I'm not one for inciting violence, but if you see shit like that, like grab the nearest chair and just fucking deck them.
And then you'd be arrested. It's like,
I don't know. I feel like going to prison and someone asking you like, "Oh, so what are you in for?" Well, I tried to stop a robbery, or I successfully stopped a robbery. Then I feel like I'd be in better shape than like others in prison.
That happened in BC, where fucking someone bear maced someone who was causing a disturbance on the bus to get him under control. The cops showed up and he got in trouble for bear macing someone. They took his bear mace away. Like, it's fucking retarded. So the next thing on the list is I figure we could take a look at some more of the vandalism happening to Teslas. You guys gotta check this out.
I was seeing this.
Yeah, walks by, keys the fucking car, and then goes right into his apartment.
Oh my god.
People don't realize that
these idiots.
That Teslas have
360 camera view.
Yeah.
that's always on and recording. Oh, fucking idiot.
It gets better. Check this one out. He's sticking his hand in his asshole, and he's wiping it on the Tesla. Look at that. He's wiping his shitty fingers.
I was wondering why he was walking like he had something shoved up his asshole.
It was his fingers.
Oh wait, it was his hand.
This
oh
is
my
where
god,
we're at.
could you imagine? Like, I wonder how far away from home this guy is.
I don't think this
Like,
was in
how
Canada, by
far?
the way. This was in the States.
How far did he have to go to wash his hand off?
I like to think that maybe he got kind of nervous afterwards and started chewing his hands because he kind of forgot what he did and chewing his fingers.
Eats a Snickers and then he's just like, "Oh man, what the fuck did I just do?"
Did you ever see the movie Mallrats? Kevin Smith's Mallrats.
Yes.
Do you
but
remember where he
lot.
stink palms? The guy where he sticks his hands in his ass and then shakes hands with the guy, and the guy goes to eat a pretzel.
Vaguely.
And he's like sucking his fingers and stuff afterwards. That's why I like think this guy did. Like, so fuck. What is wrong with you? Fucking munchlax walking up with your fingers in your asshole to finger paint on a Tesla. Like, what?
You know what's even better is this guy's just like, he's gonna be known, like, no matter what he's done, like, he could, like, I don't know, he could have helped, like, millions of people in, I don't know, some poor country get out of...
Built a school in Kenya or something.
Yeah, and now he's just known as, hey, the guy that shit his pants and wiped on a car.
Stuck his fingers in his bum.
Finger pants. Finger painting.
And that's not going any. That's you. That's what you've accomplished in life now. It doesn't matter what you do from this point on. Like Mike said, you're the.
And he's immortalized himself in that one moment. Forever. Unless the internet gets wiped, like, this is... If people look back, like, historians 300 years in the future, 1,000 years in the future, and they're like, oh, I wonder what people were doing 1,000 years ago. They're going to take a look at this guy and be like, huh, they I don't know, fucking car drawings. Oh, I wonder what that meant.
It hurts.
Hunting bison.
It hurts. It mentally hurts to see people who are that gone. Like, they're that mentally fucking shot.
They're mentally hilarious.
Yeah. All right, let's go back. Let's go down to Ottawa. So, this is an American embassy. The day before, they had done this exact same thing to a Tesla dealership. Shut the fuck up. Nobody gives a shit what you have to say. You're just as bad as those fucking climate activists who go into art galleries and, like, throw tomato soup on a Van Gogh painting. You're a fucking attention whore. You're a dumb bitch. And I hope you get locked up, but you won't. You look so stupid. You look so dumb. And nobody cares about what any point you have to make from here on out. Fucking hell. More Tesla shit in Ottawa.
Very polite.
When did they replace your chip to suddenly hate Tesla? Was it like...
Who do you...
I don't know when I got a chip, sorry.
And why do you think... Who are you accusing of being a Nazi?
Elon.
And why?
He was the owner of Diamond Mine, didn't you?
Honk if you hate fascists.
Diamond Mine,
what?
will support the Nazi salute.
The sign in the back, honk if you hate fascists.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, show me your photo. I'm gonna find you doing a Nazi salute in no time. You
absolutely will not.
What
do
about
that.
all the politicians,
You absolutely will
Democrat
not do
politicians
that.
that are caught with their hand in the air? We'll see who agrees that it was a Nazi salute.
Do you think it helps your cause calling people, broad groups of people, a Nazi and giving them the finger? There's a swastika on that sign. Do you think that's appropriate? No, the one right behind you, over your shoulder.
So when you were buying your supplies for the sign at the dollar store, why didn't you grab an umbrella?
So we've got the swastika. This guy comes in calling people Nazis and giving the finger.
I'm not calling anybody a Nazi.
Oh, you're calling you on a Nazi?
Why did a Nazi salute?
It says Nazi trucks, fuck off.
Calling anyone with a Tesla.
If I ever hear someone call someone a Nazi, I immediately disregard anything that they're about to say. You cannot like Elon Musk for, I don't know, reasons because he works for Donald Trump. This is what I mean. We're being completely subsumed by political turmoil, not only in the States. I know the tariffs and stuff are affecting here, but like everything I've said leading up to this all throughout the podcast of how Canada has created these problems for itself, and you're using this as some retarded conduit to express your emotional discontent, you just look dumb. And these are probably the same people
I just
too.
wanted to know what these people do for life because they have the time to go there and stand and hold signs up. Like, bro,
The one
get a
thing that I
fucking
wish,
job.
the one thing that I'd like to see, like, I get the point of this video, but the people taking the video are doing a shit job at, like, making us, like,
Yeah,
I don't
I
even
know
know
what
how
you're
to
saying.
describe, like, yeah, he's basically, like, name call, the dialogue, the
They're-
same thing that I've been saying all
They're
along,
not
like,
doing
the
a good
dialogue's
job
not there.
at presenting a counter argument to what they're
Yeah.
doing.
It's
And
just name calling.
I would have
and,
rather gone up like, what's your thoughts on what Canada has done to cause this discontent?
Yeah.
You know, that because that's what I mean when I say that it's just become Trump bad, Elon bad, and I don't really think anybody can articulate why they feel that way aside just from saying they hate them and that Trump's a fascist. Elon's everybody that you don't like and don't agree with is a fascist. Anybody on the right's a fascist. You just look retarded.
You ever watch Idiocracy?
No, but I've watched bits about it.
I feel like we're almost there because it's just things that we don't understand or things that we can't communicate well, we just default to name calling.
I know.
Or just breaking down dialogue, and it's just that's like one of the main things that you notice in that movie is that whenever they just don't understand something, they drop like derogatory terms. I don't know if I want to say it on
isn't there
here,
like
but
something that they there's like a show where people just get hit in the nuts or something.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
And there's no dialogue anymore.
Yeah.
There's no constructive dialogue, and that seems to be mainly due in part on the left that seem incapable of having dialogue. And it's at the
Yeah.
point where you have, like I said, people in the NDP and people in the Liberal Party murmuring about banning X because they can't handle anything that they might disagree with. It's immediately viewed as an attack. It's immediately viewed as an attack on fucking our culture and stuff. It's
which I find is very, I don't know, ironic, I guess, because like they're talking about fighting fascism and stuff like that, but then they failed at sending a politician like the opposition to jail, and then like the whole Democratic Party, their whole gig for the last 2 years was putting this guy in prison.
Yeah.
So that he couldn't run.
And they haven't been able to pivot since.
That is what fascist countries do to opposition leaders. We're like I don't understand how people can't see
because they
the
don't.
wrong shit that has been done by the government that they are supporting,
They've been
or that they try to support. Yeah,
they've been galvanized emotionally to such an extent that I don't think they're able to do that level of critical thinking. And like, I'm not defending Trump in any way, but you really have to look at where your side, which from my perspective, if you're a critical thinker, you're gonna be like a pendulum. You're gonna look at the political landscape as a pendulum. Things are gonna swing right for a while, things are gonna swing left for a while, and you want to try to remain within that Overton window. But the Overton window is shifted to such an extent that there's like, you're either far left or you're far right, and no one ever looks at anything in between. But reality is that the silent majority are people who are in the center, especially when it comes to Canadian politics. Check this fucking guy out.
Excuse me, sir, did you just call me a Nazi?
I made a general statement.
It's hard to be a Nazi minority. It's easy to watch TV and be brainwashed into feeling things.
Sure is.
Yeah, do you have your own
Talk to
opinions?
MAGA.
Do you have your own opinions about stuff? Yeah, that's you, for sure.
Look
You're
at
out
you.
here protesting Tesla in Canada, dude. What do you think you're accomplishing?
I'm an American citizen, actually.
No.
Oh, it's that guy again.
You're doing what?
I'm an American citizen, so I'm protesting where I live.
So you're protesting where you live. Why don't you go back to the U.S. and protest there then?
I'm a dual citizen, and I plan on going back.
So,
I'll be on vacation next week.
all right, go back. Why are you here in Canada?
I'm going to go back where I came from.
You're going.
I love the fucking old guy here who looks like someone dipped Alec Baldwin in a cotton candy machine.
Is it tie-dye?
Fuck.
Going back to the U.S. Why are you protesting Tesla in Canada?
Because Tesla sucks everywhere.
Oh, well, did it suck 2 years ago when everyone was big fans of it? They loved driving Teslas. Everyone was pushing for Teslas.
That's exactly what I was
All of
about
a
to
sudden,
say.
It's not good.
You know what?
They were bringing in the e-revolution. There was EVs.
Yeah,
everyone loved Tesla,
right.
and all of a sudden you don't like them anymore.
Yeah, because he's a Nazi now.
Because they like Trump.
Why do you love Elon?
Why do I love Elon? I'm asking you, sir.
Yeah,
You're out here
let's
protesting Tesla in Ottawa. What are you hoping to accomplish?
To send a message to Tesla, their stockholders, their potential customers, that this is bad. People do not want
What
to be
is
supported.
bad?
What is bad?
Yes.
What is bad?
Yes.
What is Elon Musk doing that is bad?
Sure, go ahead.
Doge?
Doge is bad. How is Doge bad?
Horrible.
How?
Doge is horrible.
Because it cut off USAID funding?
Truly. People have died because of that.
Because they've cut off USAID funding? Is that why? Like, why?
There's that. There's
People have died because of Doge.
What? Who has died? Who has died?
People in
Why
Africa.
is it the U.S.'s job to take care of the world, first of all? And second of all, how can you guarantee that that money is not going to left-wing NGOs?
Oh, God.
Is that what you're about? Of course you don't, because that's what you want. That's what you want from it. You're not about, like, funding and helping people in Africa. You're about funding left-wing causes. There's a lot of back payments going to people through USAID.
This
all
guy's
right?
based
That's
as
why-
fuck.
Yeah, a lot of good. Does that
Is she
cancel out all
wrapped
the
in
backroom deals that they're
plastic?
making?
Yes.
That they're sliding to these
You wanna talk
NGOs?
about backroom
The fuck?
deals?
Yeah,
Trump
go ahead. Let's
and
talk about it.
MAGA?
Let's talk about it.
Trump
Let's talk about backroom. Okay, what is it? Give me some. Give me some backroom Trump deals.
Let's see. How about like billionaires?
Yeah, don't talk to them. You're gonna make yourself.
Support of Trump buying off Supreme Court judges. That's a backroom deal.
Buying off who?
Who?
Yeah, like who did they buy off? How? Amy Coney Barrett? What you're saying?
Are you familiar with the camper?
The what?
The camper. The huge bus.
So they have a bus, and that means that they're buying judges? Is that what you're talking about?
I'll tell you what. I need you to give me a little bit of space. I'll move over here. I prefer if you did not.
Yeah, okay. You can't justify why you're here. I mean, you don't know what you're talking about. Elbow.
Exactly. They never can. And that's something that I've noticed increasingly every time I see these people. They can never articulate why they're there. They just say, fascist, bad.
I'm not gonna lie. I wish that I could hear more of the guy on the right talk, because he sounds fucking hilarious.
He's just like, well, people
The guy
are,
with the glasses.
they're cutting off USAID, so people are dying in Africa. That is not Canada's problem, and it's not the U.S. problem. Especially Canada, when our people are dying from not being able to feed themselves and house themselves. You have people who are dying in fucking outpatients rooms because they can't see a doctor in time. I'm not saying these people over there, I'm not saying what's happening in those places aren't bad. It is bad, but Canada and the US cannot be the world police forever.
Well, not only that, but sending. This might sound horrible. I'm not sure. Anyways, I'm gonna say it anyways. Sending money to a place like a conflict zone isn't actually going to solve the issues that are there in the conflict zones. Like sending money to a place where child soldiers are like genital mutilations and shit like that are occurring and actual genocides.
Yeah, like we just sent
against ethnic groups, sending millions of dollars to those locations without knowing who's receiving that money isn't helping anything.
We just
Especially when those places don't actually receive most of the money, if any of the money.
We just sent
Like,
100 million to Palestine. Who's that going to? Who's divvying? Who's allocating this money?
Yeah.
Is it going to
And
the
is
people
that-
that really need? Like,
Is that money, like once it gets there, who's actually receiving this money? Who controls the money? And is the money just going to go and fund Hamas?
exactly.
And
These are
make
all
shit worse.
questions that need to be asked, but they're not.
Yeah. Which, if you look at this from a geopolitical, like national view, it's fucking genius. Because how do you keep? I mean, you look at any conflict in the world. Well, I mean, the States is a very good example. Like CIA, government placements, or whatever it's fucking called. My brain's just gone to mush at this point. But the amount of interference from like the 50s, probably up to the 90s, probably up to even today, causing global conflict to just keep going
Well,
is
yeah,
making them a shit
the
ton of money.
military-industrial
And
complex.
it's keeping those places from getting more powerful and becoming more of a threat.
And also
So it's
prevent
like-
them from nuclear arms.
Yeah. So it's like, are we actually helping these people, or are we causing a situation to just perpetually stay shitty? That
Thing is-
way we stay on top.
We can't keep throwing money at problems and expect them to get fixed because we don't know who's receiving the money.
Yeah.
It's like when people tell Elon Musk to fix world hunger just by throwing money at a problem. It's like that's not how it works. So here's we'll try to steamroll through the rest of these stories in like the next 10-15 minutes. Here's a
Never
picture
mind.
of someone who smeared shit all over a Wayne Gretzky statue.
Ew.
Yeah, this is
Probably the same guy.
This is the level of political discussion we've hit when you know Wayne Gretzky is friends with Donald Trump, so you poop on his statue. Of course. Okay, so a bit of a detox in the
Ryan, I
political.
promise I didn't post those things on the internet. I'm sorry.
What things?
I did.
This.
Did you poop on Wayne Gretzky? Oh,
No,
you're
I'm
talking about the
talking about-
micro peen. Fuck you! God damn, I didn't even realize you could see that yet. Derp.
I swear I didn't post anything online. It's good, it's cute.
So here's one poor bastard. My boyfriend has a micro penis, and here's what our perfect sex life is like. The girlfriend of a man brutally mocked by his mates for having a micro penis has leapt to his defense, stating that she has no complaints in the bedroom department despite his 7.3 centimeter package. Why does this guy's friends know that he has a micro penis? Did he just get drunk one night and decide to like trauma vent? Penny Talbot, 33, has been dating her boyfriend Jake Timms. Of course, they have his full name on here too, Jake Timms. This couldn't have been done anonymously. For nearly 2 years, but she knew the British Army vet had a smaller than average penis as the pair of friends were becoming more romantically involved. When we started dating, Jake brought it up straight away. suppose he's kind of upfront with it. But he wasn't embarrassed about it at all. In fact, he was proud of his penis size. No, it's called. He kind of had to develop a bit of confidence surrounding it. He knows that you're gonna see it eventually. You might as well just come out and say it. And I love that they also have their picture here. So it's like everybody knows his full name. They know what he looks like. The guy can't even go get a coffee now and be like, "Hey, it's Baby Dick." Like, that's. I think he just wanted me to know in case I was disappointed, but that wasn't the case at all. The average erect length of a penis in Australia is 5.6 inches, while palms measures up at an average of 5.17 inches. At 2.9 inches, Jake is classified as a micro penis, but she said Jake has or have a very healthy sex life. For me, it isn't about penetration and climax of sex, but foreplay and everything that leads up to it. Yeah, see the lead up of you guys rubbing your two clits up against one another.
What the hell's the palms?
I don't know. That's what threw me off when I was reading that. The palms, I have no fucking idea. When I saw Jake's penis for the first time, I wasn't horrified. It was the opposite. I thought it was absolutely perfect. I thought she was going to say it was adorable. In fact, Penny lives with endometriosis, a condition where endometrial
I knew
tissue,
it.
which is similar to the
Well,
lines you
she doesn't suffer anymore, so she's fine and she has a healthy sexual life because who has this problem suffers a lot.
Yeah, I'm like. In fact, Penny. Let's see here. Usually airs with fallopian tubes as well as organs such as bladder, bowel, vagina, cervix, and as a result, sex at times can be painful. So she said 36-year-old.
Basically, what matters, like she's stuck in her fingers inside of her, so that's why she's happy.
Yeah. So her 36-year-old's partner's smaller manhood is perfect, but Jake's own mates haven't been quite understanding. With Penny, a healthcare assistant, admitting that she has been quizzed over whether their sex life is satisfactory by his friends. Well, yeah, that's what men do. If I told Mike I had a micro penis, I would never live it down. If I told anybody in my Discord I have a micro penis, you guys are gonna fucking make fun of me for it. That's what men do.
I mean, I'd probably make fun of you a little bit, but I probably wouldn't care.
A little bit? Is that a pun?
I'm never gonna see it. Yeah, a little bit.
People always ask me if Jake's penis is the smallest I ever had, and to be honest, I try to blank out all my previous sexual partners. That's a yes. I mean, yes, he is below average, but for me, significantly below average. But for me, it's never about a man's size. There are a lot of other ways to spice up your sex life for you both to be satisfied in the bedroom. And believe it or not, it doesn't all just come down to your bloke's manhood. Jake gets teased all the time for his size, mainly from his old army mates. It's typically boys' banter, and I've heard them refer to it as a piece of dental floss before, but he laughs it off. Jake's mom giggles along when he jokes that his two older brothers got all the goods. Luckily, it's like now it doesn't just extend from his friends; it extends to his family, and now the whole fucking world knows he's got a micro penis. Jake appears to be taking all. Oh, fuck off!
Check the comments. Is there 11 and 100 comments? Oh no, there's no. Oh, that is.
Christ's sake, fucking ads. If I were Jake, I don't know if I'd be broadcasting something like this. Yikes, why would you want to go public with that information? It's not about the size of the wand, but how you use it to conduct the band. He may have a lizard tongue. Well, he has a caterpillar pee-pee. Yeah, this poor fucking guy, man. But, you know, that is a lot of... That is something a lot of men are concerned about. It's like the size of their penis and stuff. Because, in reality, like, most women don't
You
care.
guys have been brainwashed. You guys have been brainwashed. What?
Peen-washed.
You guys have been brainwashed. It doesn't matter the fucking size.
Well, I've heard women at work and stuff talk about just how huge their partner's dick is and stuff, and that's what they want. It's like, okay, so you have a corridor cunt. That's all I know now. It's like you're in your 40s or your 50s. You really got to be going around fucking bragging about the size of your man's dick at work. I don't hear younger women doing that. It's always older women. I don't know if that's just like empirical from my perspective, but I don't know if, Mike, you've ever noticed that it's always women in like their 40s and 50s who brag about their partner's dick size. When I think about it, I've never heard someone my age or younger really go on about their partner's dick unless they're, you know, a very promiscuous person.
Yeah, it probably depends on who you're spending your time around, but I know I've heard a lot of people talk about their trunk sizes and stuff like that, and it's just I don't know. Whatever. I've never run into an issue where partners complained, so that's
Male
all I
or
give a
female?
shit about. Female. They ain't getting a wind tunnel, but
I don't know. Let's hear a lady's perspective.
I already told my perspective. I don't fucking care.
And see, that's the thing. I feel like that's the general sentiment, you know.
My personal perspective, anything bigger than 16 is a no-no. 16 centimeters.
I was gonna say.
I don't know.
You're gonna
bigger
need
than this.
You're gonna need a few of those if you want to measure mine.
I mean, I think a lot of what we see, like a lot of the superficial shit that we see, is just I don't know, just an echo chamber that people have basically placed themselves in, where it's like, no, this is the standard.
The thing is
that I have to hold myself to, and then they're like, I don't go anywhere near anything else. Like I have to have,
I think
don't know, whatever the trend is, and I think the majority of people just realize, like, yeah, things you don't have control over, like nobody gives a shit about.
I think a big dick might matter more in relationships where there's no intimacy. I think if you have a deep emotional bond with your partner on top of a good physical one and the intimacy's there, that's going to make sex feel exponentially better than just like genital size. I know what people are thinking right now. Yeah, that's probably easy for you to say with a small dick. Like, I know that's probably some of the things that are going to come to some people's minds, but you know, I think it's true.
I mean, I've heard a lot of, well, I say a lot of, but maybe 3 cases of people doing interviews with people with gargantuan anacondas.
Yeah, my dick looks like an ostrich leg.
But usually the stories they follow the trend of like it's horrible, like it's almost like a curse for them.
Yeah, I actually usually hear it's very painful.
Because their partners have no pleasure. They don't have a pleasure. You can't. You can't.
Yeah. And I mean, you look at male age, like the older you get, the harder it is to get it up. So it's like you can only imagine, okay, if it's like 18 inches or something stupid like that, it's like, yeah, you're not getting that up without help. And that help's probably gonna stop your heart.
All right, enough dicking around.
I get it.
I need to show you guys. I doubt we'll watch the whole video because it's 9 minutes long, but I gotta show you this fucking video I stumbled upon a couple of days ago.
Oh, is that what I think it is?
This guy said because he didn't get his reward money, he killed my cat. Okay. You can't kill someone else's animal. He's got other cats that are hanging out on his property. I'm afraid he's going to kill him.
Why did you pick that particular cat?
The other ones are more wild. I can't get a hold of them. Hitler used natural gas to kill people over there.
When an Ohio woman calls to accuse
What? Fucking look at Mr. Leahy over here. Who fucking going around gassing cats because, well, Hitler used to do it. Insane.
Of killing her emotional support animal, police have
Oh, this is the
the
YouTube channel I showed you.
Rage of a grieving
Yeah.
pet owner and a man who has found a grim solution for trespassing cats. But the dark method he uses to carry out these executions will leave officers reeling in horror.
How many cats have you euthanized?
How many?
Yeah.
Just lately?
Lately or ever or...
Just lately.
He just
The following
smiles.
report is based on official police records, and most of the footage has never been seen before until
I
now.
hope a
The
gang
trouble in Worcester, Ohio
fucking beats
begins
him
on
up
the
on the
afternoon
street.
of May 6,
I don't care.
2024, when an
I don't
irate
If it was me, I would
killing
make that.
anyone, but
I would make that man's life a living
sickening
hell.
crime.
I think I need to talk to an officer, please. About what? So, my cat's been missing since spring, and an older gentleman found it. He murdered my cat, and that's not the only cat he murdered. He said he's going to start killing cats if people don't come get them. It was really hard not to punch an 80-some-year-old man in his face.
An officer with the Worcester Police Department goes out to investigate the complaint, and it quickly becomes clear that there's much more to Courtney's story than meets the eye.
Oh, is he eating the cat?
I just watched the beginning of the video before I added it.
Because he's been running around, and this guy said
That'd be
he's gonna get
fucked.
his reward money.
He's
He
like
killed my
making
cat.
cat
You
lasagnas
can't
and
kill
feeding
someone
it
else's
to
animal.
locals.
When did you last have
This woman kind of looks like
He was
fat
here
Josh Peck.
just before, right before spring. But I'd say March.
He gets out and runs off every once in a while trying to get some pussy.
My cat's a nut.
This isn't the first time
It runs off every now and then trying to get some
In
pussy.
December, Courtney printed a flyer promising a $100 reward to anyone who could help find the cat. Ultimately, Bean was found and returned by the very man she's now accusing.
Fuck, this guy looks uncannily like Mr. Leahy.
And that guy saw the flyer, said, "I found your cat." But he brought my cat back. He asked for the reward, and I said, "Well, I don't have it right now. It wasn't specified." And Bean was hanging out, and then he left, and he came back, then he left, and this guy's like, "Oh, your cat's back over here," and I'm like, "Okay, well, if it becomes a problem, let me know." And he's like, "Well, I want my $100," and I said, "Well, I don't have it right now, sir. I have kids. I have, my husband just got laid off. I don't have it." And he said he
Then
killed my cat.
why did you put a $100 reward then?
Her husband revealed that Bean is not the only one of their cats to have met their fate in this man's vicinity.
Because he just nonchalantly, he's like, "Oh, they're both dead."
Yeah, he said that he found the one under the camper in his driveway.
And he said he had the other one killed.
So which one did he find dead?
His cat, Thunder. That's just a regular cat. He's got other cats that are hanging out on his property. I'm afraid he's going to kill him. But the one he killed is my emotional support animal. He has been with me. We got.
Is it just me or does she look like someone who would have an emotional
While
support
Bean's
cat?
alleged demise is disturbing, the horrifying
wonder
details
if
of what
that's-
really happened can only come.
I wonder if it was an actual sport animal or if that was like a self-appointed.
I mean, that's still...
Yeah, but don't you have to license those?
Yeah.
Pretty sure you gotta have a license to call an animal an emotional support.
Yeah, don't tell him I'm here. Try to get him to say it again. That would be helpful. Say, I don't believe you killed my cat.
Kind of just a detail that probably didn't have to.
This attempt to solicit a confession may have failed, but when the officer arrives at Ivan's home around the corner, it rapidly becomes clear that subterfuge will not be necessary.
Hello, sir. How are you doing? Alright. I'm here about a cat. Yeah. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, there were two cats. Two cats are dead.
Yeah. So how did Bean die?
Why is his pants look all disheveled? What the fuck was he just doing?
He loaned me a cooler, and I put carbon dioxide in on him, and in about 3 minutes he was dead.
Ivan's hideous condition will only grow more appalling when the
Oh my
officer
God,
visits the
what the
exterminator
fuck?
and gets an up-close look at the homemade gas chamber he used to carry out the execution.
I say put the old man in it.
Here's a little ethical
Into it, pretty simple.
ethical thought. Do you think this is more humane than drowning cats?
I think twice that I've loaned it.
Because I know a lot of farms when they have cat problems, they drown them.
You shouldn't be doing either, in my opinion.
Recollection of Bean's death is unsettling.
Bean got in my back porch, and I caught him, I took him out, dropped him in the cooler, and I turned the gas on for about 2 minutes.
Okay.
People will suffocate in 5 minutes.
Why did you pick that particular cat?
The other ones are more wild. I can't get a hold of them.
Okay.
He was wild when he first come down here, and then he got tamed down. His brother's dead in there. He's full of maggots and stuff. I just picked him up.
Jesus
maybe an
Christ.
hour before you
Wait,
got
what?
here. Yeah,
He's
so
just
Thursday
keeping
night,
them.
A raccoon killed him. 2 toms will kill each other.
And in a day filled with strange remarks, the one Ivan makes next is perhaps the strangest.
What do you call it? Hitler used natural gas.
Oh no! Oh
I love
no!
cats. Come here, I'll show you.
Oh no! I love cat.
God, come here, I'll show you. I'll prove it to you.
Oh no!
Let me just go past my cat gas chamber that I use to kill cats to show you how much I love cats. See, look, I feed them.
They snip the other cat. See the one up there?
Oh
They
no!
snip off of her ear.
Right, yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, and so Bean wasn't fixed.
How many cats like have you euthanized?
How many?
Yeah.
Just lately?
Oh, that's not a good
Lately
answer.
or ever, or...
It's not a good sign.
I can't spend $500 on vet bills.
If Bean's death was nauseating enough on its own, it's perhaps even more dreadful to realize that Courtney's cat was only one of many animals Ivan killed with this cooler.
I had 3 sets of kittens in the house. The kittens were all less
No.
than a week old, so I put down 12 kittens with that same cooler.
No.
Tom, when the
Oh
baby
no!
was sick, he had snotty eyes, and I put 1 sick cat down and 5 healthy cats down.
Okay.
But beyond licenses, the bigger problem seems to be the way in which Ivan is attracting animals to his property, intentionally.
Oh,
or
he's
not.
luring
The
them.
issue is you're publicly feeding cats,
Yeah, I know.
so they're gonna come here,
Yeah, I know.
right? So you're encouraging potentially other people's cats.
Oh.
Like you are aware where the cat belongs.
Yeah, I took it up there.
There's
and
the
I put it in
serial
the
cat
house,
murder.
and they let it get out. And so it had
He's
been
got
down
some
here
people in the
after it got out,
backyard.
it'd been down there,
Yeah.
so I
He
ended up
has to have
feeding
some
them one
people.
In his
week.
basement.
Right. So I'm just gonna draw a line in the sand here. It's illegal to kill cats. It's a violation of the law.
But a pound, veterinary puts them down.
Dude's got a hard drive under his
But they
fucking
have licenses
under his
to do
mattress.
Yeah, and I don't have a license.
Correct. Cats that have started living here that maybe used to belong to
Hey,
somebody.
vets aren't
that are
luring
lost,
cats
they
in to
just
kill.
Figured they ran away.
Yeah.
which
Yeah, well, I knew it.
Now they're here, and maybe you've killed them. You know what I
He-
mean? So it's just
He's just a
creates this
psychopath.
revolving door of issues here for the local habitat.
Ivan's final thoughts are about the policies of the local shelters, but the officer encourages them to keep one thing in mind above all else.
So this is 100% cats.
Yeah.
But they won't let you bring any more cats in there.
Right. Right. Yep. I don't have a solution off the top of my head for you. But for right now, just stop killing them, and we'll just start with that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Ivan.
3 months later,
So they're
in
just
August 2024,
nothing?
Walter Ivan Schwarm was charged with 18 counts of
Oh, there we
cruelty
go.
to companion animals, which was reduced in a plea deal to 6 counts and 1 petty theft charge. The
He's
charges
basically
were
got away
filed
with
as
it.
first-degree misdemeanors, and after pleading guilty, Ivan was sentenced to 6 months probation. Additionally, Ivan was instructed to write an apology letter to Courtney and pay her $100 in restitution. He was forbidden to have animals of any kind on his property, and the judge also fined him $150 in the form of a donation to an
My-
animal shelter.
He'll hand her the $100 and then be like, "There, now I want my roar back."
I do find that funny.
God,
He is
man. Fuck.
he mainly, I think, killed them because of the reward money, and then ends up having to fucking pay $100. Oh my fuck! Ivan's just a psychopath. I think Ivan needs to spend a bit of time in his cooler.
You know, a few weeks ago, a guy was caught on camera, like, spinning a cat and throwing the cat away in the northern of Brazil. This guy appeared dead a week ago. They
Wait,
killed him.
he
because of that.
killed. He got caught spinning a cat around by its tail, and then he turned up dead.
Yes. Brazilians don't take shit. We don't take shit. We kill people because of these things.
Brazilian street justice, right there.
Yes. People kill them in the neighborhood, so yeah.
Do you fuck with John Wick's cat?
They
Man,
do the same to rapers and the others too, so
they
yeah, be
weren't
careful.
kidding around.
Oh,
Oh my god.
Hit that one on the paw.
All right. Last
Okay, let's go, because I'm tired.
last video of the night. This one's more interesting, and I figured this would interest both of you. It's about a discovery in Egypt.
Yeah.
2 kilometers
Struggling
below.
to express in words just how significant I am struggling to express in words just
You
how
put a full screen?
significant of a discovery this is. What has just been announced in relation to the pyramids at the Giza Plateau and the plateau itself is so incredible, so awe-inspiring and narrative-shattering that I have been sitting here for the last hour trying to wrap my head around the implications of what we were just told. So this is pretty much breaking news because the new findings were announced on the 16th of March at a press conference held by the team who were studying the Great Pyramid of Giza with a non-invasive technology that was first developed by Filippo Bionde and Corrado Malanga called synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography. So this was used to explore the internal structure of the Great Pyramid of Giza. And this method leverages the analysis of micro movements typically generated by background seismic activity to achieve a high resolution full 3D tomographic imagery of the pyramid's interior and subsurface components. The recent findings from deploying this technology are nothing short of mind-blowing, because what's been discovered is that there are huge structures coming down from the base of the pyramid deep into the bedrock, in fact over 600 meters deep, which then connects to structures that extend up to 2 kilometers below the surface of the ground.
How?
2 kilometers. Massive internal structures connected to the base of the pyramid and extending deep, deep down. This is what we know so far. Utilizing high-resolution radar images from Capella Space and Umbra, which are 2 private companies that specialize in satellite-based synthetic aperture radar imaging. This has allowed researchers to create a 3D model of the internal structure of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, this model has revealed a previously unknown chamber with 5 horizontal levels and a sloping roof, which in of itself is an architectural design unlike any previously documented in the Giza Pyramid. But the most shocking discovery lies beneath the surface. Below ground level, radar tomography has identified vertical cylindrical structures extending for hundreds of meters beneath the pyramid. There are 8 of these cylindrical wells arranged in 2 parallel rows, descending to an astonishing depth of 648 meters. Even more intriguing, at the base of these structures are 2 massive cubic formations measuring approximately 80 meters in diameter. The tomographic data suggests that these are vertical wells with intricate spiral pathways. Now, this design not only implies a functional purpose, but also a level of sophisticated engineering that completely blows the dynastic Egyptian model out of the water. I mean, the pyramid itself was already a massive red flag in the ancient Egyptian historical narrative. But now, with this discovery, I think it's become impossible to say that the Egyptian civilizations that we understand, that we've been taught about, were responsible for building these structures. And it
There's
doesn't
no
even end
way.
there. The radar analysis extends beneath the entire Giza Plateau, revealing interconnected structures beneath not only the Great Pyramid of Giza, but also those of Khufu and Menkaure. The subsurface network reaches down to a staggering depth of approximately 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers. This is not possible given the standard historical and archaeological narrative given
Even a
to
feat
us
like that
about
nowadays
ancient
would be
Egypt. Now, I'm
nearly
hearing
impossible.
that
Like
there is
the
more to come.
undertaking.
There is a 4-hour presentation that's going to be released by the research team. This is what I'm hearing. That's going to go into every
Do you know who
detail of
Graham
the
Hancock
findings.
is?
This is
I've
essentially
heard the
been
name.
a strategic release of incredible data ahead of time to get
I
people
find
interested. And I am more interested in this than basically
the
anything
more
else right now, because this is
breakthroughs
by
that
far
occur,
the most
the more the
provocative piece of
guy's
evidence
becoming
for not
like
only a potential technological explanation for the purpose of
more
the complex,
recognized or more
but it also provides the most extraordinary
not
evidence for
recognized,
a
but
pre-flood era
accepted.
civilization that was flourishing in a
Because
way
his
that we can
philosophy
scarcely comprehend. It's also possible that
is
this
that.
spiraling cylindrical
Well,
series of
I'll get
structures
into it after
are
this.
staircases. And I can't help but think of the channeled writings of Thoth the Atlantean, the Emerald Tablets, speaking of a lost hall of records, a sacred hall of knowledge below the Giza Plateau, the halls of Amenti. Could this be the lost hall of records from the pre-flood era? Now, obviously, this discovery is extremely controversial. It runs as a complete contradiction of the established narratives and status quo in mainstream academia
Exactly.
on these issues. This will cause big waves throughout the academic and the wider world if they can fully evidence these findings. But the results so far seem pretty clear. There is obviously significant structural engineering taking place deep below the pyramids and the Giza Plateau in general. Has this changed your mind on the pyramids? Has this strengthened your position on what they might have been? Has this new discovery given you any new ideas about what the implications are? Let me know in the comment section below. And honestly, everyone, share this far and wide. This is such interesting stuff.
This reminds
So-
me of Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
A lot of things that we peer back at in history is typically lost anywhere past 2,000 years, or give or take 2,000 years. The further back you go, the less we understand and the less we know. And one of Graham Hancock's one of the main theories that he talks about is the Young Dryas, and I think it was 12,000 years ago, that wiped out what we know as like the Atlanteans. And one of his kind of key arguments is we have trouble looking back 1,000 years or 2,000 years or 3,000 years
Because the sedimentary
and,
of it's like the Earth is constantly renewing its
Yep.
surface, so the stuff gets buried further.
And we know that humans have been around for over 10,000 years. And fuck, every couple of years we hear a news story of someone finding like a human fossil or human remains or bones from like even further. I think the latest is like 20 or 30,000, or fuck, maybe even further than that.
Yeah.
I might be underrepresenting
We
the
haven't
actual
even had the chance to even explore Göbekli Tepe yet, so we have no idea what anomalies hide underneath there. And when I first saw this, I didn't watch the whole video because I try to save it for when we do the podcast. I was thinking that the whole time that if something like this is real, I wonder if they're going to try to cover it up to prevent from rewriting the history books, because it's going to call into question everything we know about these societies.
That's kind of what Graham Hancock talks about, is that because of this like apocalyptic event that occurred 12,000 years ago, his theories that we actually had a developed and advanced civilization post the pre-Younger Dryas, and that post Younger Dryas, the people that survived that went around, redistributed the technology and information that they had left to whoever survived. And one of the, and I'm like 90% sure that he said this, that the pyramids in Egypt aren't actually Egyptian pyramids, that the Egyptians basically just moved in and like claimed them for themselves, and similar to the Aztecs and basically the Göbekli Tepe and any of these
monolithic structures.
Yeah, one of the big ones was where the
Machu
fuck is
Picchu?
it? No, the underground city. Fuck, is it Afghanistan or Iraq, I think. Anyways, they like massive structures, there's like air ventilation, there's wells. It can basically support, I think, like million people for some
I know
ridiculous for people.
I've heard what you're talking about, but it's something I never looked too deeply into. There's so much that we don't understand about our past, and I know regarding Göbekli Tepe, I don't know how it all ties in. There's a video on about how the WEF, the World Economic Forum, is blocking excavations and more detailed investigations into that area.
Yeah.
To essentially keep people ignorant. I recommend looking into that far deeper than I could ever explain it, but it's very interesting. But with that, let's end it there. I think we covered
Speaking
a lot
of
of ground tonight.
We should do an episode on the Aztec lines.
You'd have to send me videos on there. Something about it. Any closing thoughts?
Don't kill cats. Brazilians will come for you.
Yeah. Don't fuck around in Brazil. You fuck around in Brazil, they'll fuck with you. All right, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming aboard.
Bye. Cooler sales probably just dropped. Yeah. Wait. That's an awesome brand of flip-flop, by the way.
What is the name?
Reef.
Oh, Reef, yes.
I've had these flip-flops for probably